Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tilt Space. We're not talking about DFS today. We're going to talk about what are the odds that there's two players in the NFL who both have the same name. I mean, like, hear me out. One guy plays offense. His name is Josh Allen. The other guy plays defense. His name is also Josh Allen. I mean, are your guys' heads
No middle name,
exploding?
though.
No middle name.
Did you see that? So, like, I feel like the first time that was brought up, I was pump fake. So they're like, it happened. It finally happened. And he drops back. I'm like, oh, this is a Diggs like 80-yard touchdown, 100%. And then it's a sack. And I'm like, I missed the whole like narrative here. But man, I 100% thought that we were getting an 80-yard Diggs touchdown, which we did not.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad slate, Leone, when this is all we have to talk about is two Josh Allens out there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great for me as a Bills fan. I'll tell you that much. It was, low key a pretty big loss too, because this was factored into their really easy schedule that had them as the run for the 1 seed, and I think the 1 seed is becoming even more important with the new playoff structure. So that was bad.
We aren't actually going to talk about Josh Allen for the whole show, thank God. But we'll get to our tilt space lineups. Leone has a legitimate sweat. This is one of the most Leone moves ever, which he saves his best lineups for his private lineups and then just throws his dusty ass plays into our tilt space lineup. So tell us what we're working with here in the Thunderdome, Leone.
Yeah, first place seems kind of tough, but I have a chance if Ayuk does some stuff. I'm fading mega big the Chiefs defense. Like, everyone's got the Chiefs defense. They're 40%. I've got Ayuk. It was just a shit week for everybody. My team's really not even that good, but Marquise Brown, without scoring a touchdown, is actually the highest scoring wide receiver. Really, what was tilting was Jamar Chase. Like, it was really close to a very good game. Had the perfect script. He dropped a touchdown, had another bomb off his fingertips. He had a 30-yard catch called back, and I was the only person with him, so I really needed that. And in the dome, it looks like a pretty chalky lineup, but you got to keep in mind that Zeke was over 50%, Eckler's 40%, so there is still a lot of chalk I didn't play, even though I ate the Albert O chalk. And the Lamar stat came in higher than I expected. I knew Lamar would get steamed himself. I didn't think his stat counterparts would necessarily get carried with it, and they did.
Pull up Nick's comment. Here you go, Joe. It's your time to shine.
This is so perfect.
Man, I'm looking at this team, and I didn't want to be the guy, Pete, but since you brought it up, like, you are so fucking dead. Like, it's not even funny how dead this team is. I can't even believe we're talking about it.
Why is it even on the screen? It's so dead.
We're sitting here looking at all these snowflakes and trying to like tell people that this is like a live team. Is this how bad that this day was? That we're talking, we're sweating the Kansas City defense, the worst defense in the league. It's like, I mean, I understand it. Like, Texans defense, jam them in for 15 points. Love it. You never talked about that with our teams. So I'm glad that you held
Texans
that.
D, Joe. I'm two of our teams.
Oh, I specifically remember this, like, the conversation though, where like, fuck, we can't play Texans D on all of our teams. Like, we can't do that.
Yeah, for sure. How about Marquise Brown? Really, that's one of our biggest whiffs, because it wasn't just this contest. He was actually higher owned in some other contests, and that was one of the biggest whiffs I've had all year on small field ownership.
Did you legitimately think he'd be sub 10 in some of our stuff? Or like
I
15
thought
max?
He would be around 10.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it is a good lesson learned, because we've now seen it with, obviously he was got really steamed, but we also saw it with Devonta Smith a couple weeks where Jalen Hurts was the mega chalk, and people are trying to find that stacking partner. And even though whatever the baseline kind of ownership stuff that, spits out from the algorithm, like maybe the manual booster to that needs to get pretty heavy for whatever, like, the top cash game, quarterback is.
Yeah, I think we might make some adjustments for that in our model. And the other thing I think that maybe helped it was, I think people got off Waddle on the Tua stuff a little bit. Waddle we had projected really high owned, and he came in pretty tame, I thought, from what I looked at. We actually played one Jacoby double team that I made us play, and Jacoby was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was and And someone, how many people are in the dome? Someone was commenting about Ayuk's ownership, but like all it takes is what, like 2
Yeah,
people?
there's only 30. So so one of the 3 people who played Ayuk was me. I assume someone might have swapped. Yeah, one team has Ayuk and Rondale Moore, so I don't think they swapped. I think they had that all along. So
Yeah. All right, so we will keep an eye on this. You want to pull up our main lineup in the 1500 here?
Yeah, I loved our lineup in this, especially in retrospect with how steamed the Baltimore stuff got. I mean, to get the highest ceiling quarterback, the highest team total on the slate, we got him double stacked with Beasley and Sanders at about average 5%, Allen himself at 10%. So combined, it was 20%. You got 5% Edmonds. We got single digit Jacobs, I thought was good. We did have Hollywood chalk, but we didn't think it was going to be. And, Jefferson also seemed like he got propped up a little bit. I was expecting him also more like 10 versus 18. We played Arnold coming back as really good leverage on Albert. I mean, I feel like this team, had some legs, deserves some Sklansky bucks.
Yeah, I feel like if you told us how much Brown would have come in for, I'm guessing we would have gone down from like Brown to Bateman and then maybe tried to then get back up to Diggs, maybe if we could have found the salary or something like that. But otherwise, I was pretty happy with this lineup.
Yeah, if you were to tell us that our mini stack would have been like by far the chalkiest piece of this team, I would have told you were nuts. But did someone flag plant Jefferson, or like why is Jefferson 18%? Marquise Brown like 34, smaller field, but I don't know, man. I'm with you. Like completely whiffed on that. I wouldn't have been anywhere near that if I was to like tell you like before lock that's what we're looking at.
I mean, I feel like I say this every week, but the Justin Jefferson movie, it just plays on repeat every week where he's always slightly expensive relative for his projection. So the ownership comes in a little low compared to the other top end options, but then he becomes the de facto trendy GPP play. And even though the ownership always has around 7 or 8, it's small field. He is always 15%. My bad. I didn't know we were doing one of Joe's stream tricks.
We were.
Stream trick. This is my therapy dog. She's the best.
I love that dog.
I think I got a mini Great Dane. It's messed up. I know we're talking about football, but like our lineups are bad, so I'm pretty sure I got a mini Great Dane. She's 9 months old. She's only 67 pounds. Seems small. Still good therapy dog.
So
though.
What other tricks? I mean, if we're gonna do the dog side, I mean, are we shaking? Or do we roll over? Can we crawl?
She's knows some tricks. I get judged whenever I switch camera views, so I feel like I shouldn't
cameras,
do that.
Make use of that remote control camera and show us some tricks.
Let's see some tricks.
Okay, man, girl, this is your time to shine. Come here.
That Thielen jersey is tilting.
Sit. Hang on.
Ooh, okay.
Shake.
Okay, we actually are getting some tricks.
What's her name again?
Down. Up. Down. Up. Up. Sit. Shake. Other shake.
Nice.
Girl. That's all she's got.
That's pretty
go.
good.
All she's
I was
got.
impressed.
What's her name again, Joe?
Her name's Madden.
Madden.
She's a
Madden?
good girl.
Like
Madden. My girlfriend named her. Apparently, I don't know. She has no idea what video games are, and that Madden is like a football game. So I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good name. I don't know. She's a good girl.
Oh my God, James Connor's just breaking the slate.
Oh my
Just
God.
took a
Oh, are you waiting for your
pass
treat?
to the house.
She's standing here just like, I did all these things, and you're not going to give me anything? Sit down.
Do we get credit? Like, if Chase Edmonds was in the game, that's a Chase Edmonds screen pass first, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to say it was.
Yeah, we get credit for that.
All right, this is good. Keep the Niners throwing. Let's get some Ayuk. There's definitely a team that's chasing me that's pretty terrifying in this Herbert stack, depending on how this fourth quarter goes, because Keenan's not that far from the bonus.
How wild is that James Conner leads the league in rushing TDs?
Yeah, I traded him in a seasonal league a few weeks ago and was like kind of laughing at like, wow, you just bought into these touchdowns that like, and now he's got 3 touchdowns. And yeah, someone asked about Edmonds. He got hurt. So he got hurt very early.
Yeah. Just an absolute coffin there.
Catching passes. Hello. Ooh, yeah. So
Is
if you don't
Mahomes
have,
doing anything?
Connor Chubb is the that's the win. That's the win in large field tournaments.
I mean, what do we
God,
think?
thank God no one plays not large field tournaments. What a nightmare.
I was gonna say, what is James Conner's percentage in the Millie Maker?
Yeah, let's check that out.
I would guess.
I mean, the team in first has.
I'm gonna guess
Connor,
he's
right?
like 1.4%.
I'm gonna guess 3.6. No, 2.3. I'm gonna guess. He's not on the winning team. Cordell Patterson is. Connor 2%.
Okay.
So got a 32 burger right now. With
KK10
double
wants to know about
bonus
our
in
individual
play.
lineups. Anyone want to fill them in?
James Conner's got a 50-point outcome like live right now. I mean, it's not likely to happen, but the double bonus is not. I mean, 34 receiving yards, 55 rush yards with pretty much the whole half.
Hang on, pull up Corey's comment. The
Yeah,
FBI's on the way, dude.
Yeah, the best ball shares are hot.
Nope. Corey, the FBI is just kicking in your door right now. We don't talk. I mean, this is a DFS show / a Josh Allen show. We do not talk about redacted on here.
Uh-oh.
KK10 wants to know about our individual lineups, Pete. I am completely dead unless Mahomes does anything. If I get 50% Mahomes, I win like a reasonable amount of money. If I get like 20% Mahomes, I lose every cent. It's basically where I'm at.
Here's the thing. I have to stream for an hour tomorrow just eating shit about my own lineup. So I'd prefer not to also talk about them here. I can only rub my face in it for so long.
Sure. If only Leone would have told us about those plays for our tilt space teams and not his personal teams, we'd be in a lot better spot.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I think I have the team that's scoring just enough to be live in the dome, but would definitely not be live anywhere else.
No, Leone comes on and he goes, I already made my best lineup. Here's some guys I was barely considering for mine. Do you want to put them in the tilt space lineups?
Wait, you're telling me you have one player going right now and you think you're live, Leone? Jesus.
Didn't we play all the guys that I played?
Yeah, actually, I think we did do
in some capacity.
What do we learn here? We just have to play the dome. So then that, like, if it's a small enough field when it's a nightmare for everyone, at least we still have a chance.
Oh my God, the Packers almost muffed another punt. This KCD run out. They got a random muffed punt fumble recovery. They got a blocked field goal, a missed field goal. I need Green Bay to score in touchdown.
Any touchdown ever.
Let's talk about because in my Josh Allen doubles, I did use Diggs. We ended up not using him here, partly because it allowed us to get access to some of those other top end secondary correlations we were interested in. Oh, we look smart in not using Diggs in that lineup. I remember when Dink came on the tilt space earlier this year, he was winning a tournament or won a good amount of money with the Allen, Beasley, Sanders double. But are we just in a new reality now with Stephon Diggs where he's just not commanding the target share to warrant kind of his prices and exposures?
Well, what's crazy is the target share hasn't been like that bad. It's a little bit lower, but it's like coming into
the rookie card, boys.
Oh, is that a prism gold?
This is like my prize Stephon Diggs possession. This is like a 1 of like 10, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm not cardboard guy, but like I don't know. This is one of the ones that I thought was good.
Tackle Eckler. So but
worth more than my
25%.
Stephon Diggs teams today for sure.
I don't know. I was kind of playing either the Diggs alpha game and single stacking him, or even as a one-off, or playing the double, which Allen throws a ton, and hope that when Allen throws a ton, it's like the cheap guys almost have to kind of get there. And we saw that, like, for a team to not score a touchdown, like, I mean, we got double-digit points out of Sanders and Beasley without anyone scoring. Like, that's bad, but obviously you're not stacking them to score 6 points. You're stacking them to score. Oh boy, Herbert rush touchdown. Herbert's coming hard for me.
Yeah, and I think what are the Bills? I mean, the Bills have never thrown to the running backs a ton, but it does seem like Beasley is just kind of now their kind of extension of the run game or whatever. And instead of checking down to Singletary and Moss, they're just kind of using Beasley underneath, which is why he had that whatever absurd. How many yards did he have today on like 8 catches? It was something stupid.
Yeah, he had. I'm checking it now because it's on our. He had 8 for 33. And what's crazy is he had that like early. He didn't do like anything late. I mean, it was hard to believe how inept the Bills' offense was. They had so many chances. I can't believe they didn't score a touchdown though. The whole game.
Yeah. So we did get a Justin Herbert rushing TD here. Little.
Are we not upset about the touchdowns that happened with our DAC team? We double or
wait?
triple
Did we
our
have?
DAC team?
Did the Cowboys throw a single touchdown?
2, dude.
2 to
Malik Turner.
Both to Malik Turner.
Malik Turner week.
2?
Two grabs.
Yeah.
I stopped sweating.
This is such a nightmare.
Catches.
Brutal.
Devonta Smith, long TD. There you go, Leone.
No, he's wishing it. You can't. You got to be careful with reading.
I don't want that at this point, Joe. I want that game.
I don't know. Like, little known fact, I actually don't know how to read.
I'm hard fading that game.
Yeah. No. Today, I mean, this is just how we spend all morning. I'm staring at my spreadsheets. Do I play Judy or Sutton? I can't decide which one, Judy or Sutton. And then it's Tim fucking Patrick
every time.
I had a joke lined up on Establish a Million to say how Tim Patrick was going to ruin everything, and I didn't get it in. I wish I had gotten it in but like, I mean, we had him for a 17% target share. Like, I mean, I don't know. It was very frustrating. I don't think you should have played Tim Patrick, but it's also not like, it's not like Malik Turner.
No,
I guess.
Tim Patrick has been playing well this year.
Yeah.
That Minnesota game, I watched like a good chunk of that game. Every single touchdown was the worst thing possible. Outside of the Jefferson touchdown, like what was the final score of that game?
34-31.
Yeah, there's one usable touchdown in that game.
Yeah, at one point Dalvin scored, and at that point he had like 18 points, middle of the second quarter, 10 yards from the bonus, and it was like, this is smash. The TD gets called back. Then he lost 10 yards rushing, and then all the way not until like 3 minutes left in the game, he actually took a draw in like a hurry up mode to get the bonus to kind of salvage his day. But that was tilting. I believe Lamar threw touchdown passes to Devonta Freeman, Devin Duvernay, and Patrick Richard.
Yeah, the touchdowns in this game across the board. We got Le'Veon Bell, Patrick Ricard, Devin Duvernay, Devonta Freeman. And then on the Minnesota side, we have Kirk Cousins rushing touchdown. We have Justin Jefferson. Thank God. Thank you for your 69 yards. Nice. Adam Thielen touchdown. Thank fucking God for the mini stacks with Hollywood. And that was it. Oh, we also had a punt return touchdown in this game, in case you guys missed that one.
Oh, yeah. They took the opening kickoff of the second half back.
Right,
for a touchdown.
right. So I would have like a lot of points here, not a lot of usable points, which is frustrating.
I mean, the Marquise Brown roller coaster is hilarious, where it's like, we think it's a good GPP play. We flip over the cards and we're like, are you fucking kidding me? 35% owned. Then we actually suck out on it in overtime where he doubles up what he had done. Like, it's so gross.
And he not only gets there like in a vacuum, but the slate's so bad. I believe someone said he's the highest scoring receiver on the slate.
I know
Elijah Moore, but on this slate,
right,
followed up closely by Olamide Zacchaeus.
Oh man, Connor 40-yard run. Shows. He's going for the 50 burger.
Oh my God, I know. And this is also too when we were staring at some of our lineup decisions this week, and I think I even heard you and Dink talking about it, where it's like, we're trying to access these wide receivers who have 30-point ceilings. These are the guys who win you these tournaments. It's Marquise Brown leading the slate with, what did he have? 23 points or something stupid?
23 points, yep. Hunter Renfrow just throwing on 3 condoms. 17 points, basically. That's like a top 5 score today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Kadarius Toney end up with?
Oh, God.
I don't think he did much.
I'm scrolling.
I know I lost a PrizePicks. I took an over on Kenny Galladay, and that hurt. Tony went 1 for 9.
Oh my God!
They only threw the
Debo
ball.
2 points.
He also took a sack.
How does that even happen?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go watch the tape. I do actually watch all 22 of every game on Monday morning, so I'll let you know when I watch that back.
In case people are wondering, Jacoby Myers, this was not the week. 1 catch, 8 yards, 4 targets.
Need Arizona to score quickly. We need the Ayuk stuff.
Man,
And
Ayuk, again, talk about a roller coaster. It's just he's either making these breathtaking plays or just the dumbest plays possible, and you're just worried that Kyle Shanahan is going to send him off to the mines.
Yeah, he made a sick catch, then kind of should have just stayed down, got up, fumbles the ball, and with what's been happening, you're kind of concerned if he's even gonna stay in the game. But luckily, it looks like there was no punishment for that.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen's got 11 targets already. Are we halfway through this game?
Yeah. And I think Keenan Allen was one of those guys that looked more chalky early in the week, and then his ownership kind of cratered, right? Towards the end, he didn't come in too popular.
No, he didn't. And he was a pretty good play. I kept going to the big play. I'm like, maybe it was a thing where like Allen was, better DK play for exactly what's happening now, where he's just racking up catches, probably going to hit the bonus. And on FanDuel, it's like, I think a good day relative to the slate, but on a normal slate, even 11 for 100 is not, all that.
What time, when do you guys push out? And this is something I've gotten sloppy with, where even though I'm, manually adjusting for things that happen after inactives, I'm not often going back and updating, the ownership percentages and stuff like that. When do you guys push out your kind of final update?
It sort of depends on how big the news is by lock. We didn't change a whole ton this morning. It was more like sometimes I'll completely rerun everything.
Yeah.
Times like this morning, I'll more like make manual tweaks. Like I tweaked Waddle down, Gesicki down, that sort of thing. And so our final, I guess I would say, is generally 11:50 a.m. where we've updated our projections for the inactives, and after we update the fantasy point projections, we work on the projected ownership.
Yeah.
But that not a lot of huge swings this time.
Yeah. That one was interesting with Brissett, and just knowing, I assume most people, even who had kind of already fallen in love with their two double stacks, tore it down and just started over. Like, I doubt a lot of people were just like, oh, I'll just keep Waddle and Gesicki and then just pivot this to Brissett or whatever.
Yeah. And we played let me find it for us. Benjamin touchdown. We've been waiting for that for years.
Now,
you still play for Atlanta?
Oh no, he got drafted by the Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah.
So this was our Jacoby team, which, like, honestly, I had a too hot of projection on Jacoby, but for only scoring one touchdown, I guess he was kind of on pace for it. He was bad though. I mean, he was bad, but on a bad Jacoby game, like, you had kind of usable Waddle Gesicki games. Like, if he actually plays well, you could see where that gets there at really cheap, and then you jam in the studs. But yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot we had a Jacoby Brissett team.
But it is interesting. Devonta Smith comes in really low. That was something we had kind of pegged as like, okay, now that people aren't playing Hurts, kind of to your point, like, Devonta's not going to be played this week. And he's someone that I've been playing even when my stuff's almost sort of told me not to, because it's like he's like the guy who's a good GPP play, in the sense that you play him if he's not owned, and you should probably stay away if he's owned. And I just kind of forced some stuff with Hurts a couple of the weeks where I played Devonta into 15 to 20% field exposure when he wasn't that good of a play to play into that type of field exposure.
Well, let's talk about, because I think that, we knew we wanted to play Devonta Smith, but we were kind of waffling back and forth on Eckler versus Mike Williams here. We ended up settling with the Eckler direction. What was do you guys remember what the kind of 2v2 we were messing with there was with Mike Williams?
I don't remember if we had a second Josh Jacobs in there, but Diggs was the late addition. It was we upgraded Mike Williams to Diggs, got an Ayuk as a one-off, and then flipped Mike Williams to Eckler at running back and got off like that either 5K to 5 to 6K range at running back is what we did.
Yeah.
And we knew Eckler would be played quite a bit, but we we knew we could swap, and then we kind of just threw in the towel.
We left swaps, like we didn't have to play KC on this team, right? Like the swaps that we had, we could have made a move. We were so dead. We're like, yeah, I surrender instead.
We surrendered. That's probably my fault. We probably should have just at least thrown in a miracle swap.
What could we have even have put in at defense?
Clearly, we would have played James Conner. I mean, you could have played something with Arizona D. Probably would have been the D to try to play, because we knew Niners D would be owned and Packers D was just so bad. We would have had to obviously come off Eckler to do that.
Yeah.
This was a team where we were like, oh, we'll just, Devonta apparently scored a touchdown.
Seriously?
God, I need it. That's what the chat says. We'll see if Eric Gilbert is correct.
Eric, you're on thin ice here, bud.
Thin ice. I'm watching Hurts drop back, throwing. Devonta Smith catch at the 5, and he stretches out for a touchdown.
I feel like I played a lot of Devonta Smith this year, and
I really
not
need
today.
This game to end. At least it wasn't Goddard. Oh, that's the million.
Friend of the show, TJ Hernandez, was up big on Yahoo, but
How's he doing?
I'm scared to text him. He was up 100K, which is
This
wild.
Chargers.
But I know he didn't have PMR, so I'm sure it's bad.
Hasn't been great. Part of me is like really rooting hard for a Jordan Love touchdown, and part of me just wants this game to end and just give Kansas City their 14 points and don't see a pick 6.
Yeah.
But one touchdown, a touchdown and an extra point, like that's -6 for Casey. It just would be so huge. Man, this Philly Chargers game being tied though is very bad, especially with the way these teams are willing to call plays.
Yeah. It is.
TJ will not be coming on the show, by the way. So I assume he's no longer winning 100K.
That's what, our buddies who we invite to come on, God bless the luxury they have of only coming down on when they have a sweat. Not us.
Yeah.
We have to come in here in the light of fire no matter what.
And then apparently, Pete, you have to wake up early and talk about your lineups even more.
Oh,
Whose idea was that? Was that your idea?
It's
your channel.
I think I need to become a cash game grinder, and then, I can win 55% of my head-to-heads, and I can come on and victory lap those every Monday morning instead of eating shit 14 out of 16.
You could talk about your 10 hours of work that turned into like a 0.01% ROI on the season, and you made $500.
Ooh, I think we got an Ayuk catch, I believe. The play-by-play is correct.
Ooh.
I sold a pixelated duck earlier today to make up for every lost dollar on the slate.
What do you think I can get for that Stephon Diggs rookie card, Leone? You're the cardboard guy.
I have no idea what that's, but that's a very good card. I know that. The auto with it was PSA 10 too, so it's 1 out of 10. But if you look up the population report, it might be the only PSA 10 of that card. So it could be even
good stuff. I got that. I got a Kyler Murray PSA 10. That's a red wave. I think red wave's like 1 of 25.
Oh my God, Jordan Love, throw the ball.
Couple AJ Browns and CD Lambs. I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Who can we talk about how I bitched out on George Kittle, who's just having a massive game?
I never hit the Kittle game, so I don't even tilt it.
What's he up to?
586-1.
Yeah, it was about time.
Tight end 1.
Yeah. And for the slate, I had him in. I don't know. It's one of those things where when the pitch count stuff came out, like we've talked about this, Peter, you almost have to ignore it, right? But then you like.
But the McCaffrey stuff, what was his usage? Did that game just blow, or was he actually limited?
I think a little bit of both. Oh God, Jordan Love takes a big sack.
Oh no.
Who could have saw that coming, man? He looks so good in like the preseason and practice. Like a lot of good reports about him being super accurate. Like everything's working well.
Not now, Joe.
The reason I kind of like Kittle, if you looked at his last 2 healthy games, he had 19 targets combined. So that the volume was there. The
How many
reason I
touchdowns?
was worried was it's kind of like you need to be right twice, right? Like he's got to not be on a pitch count, and then you got to get the right script too for them to be throwing, and both sort of did end up happening. But probably, at 1% was worth it was worth. Yeah, the reward was probably there.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys consider CMC at 8K? I know he only ended up with 14. I just like more. I like on FanDuel he was 10K, so it was an easy decision.
Yeah,
But
This is
DraftKings, I
where-
don't think it was as easy.
this is where I mean, it's hard to have a heuristic that you follow all the time because with CMC, I was like, the matchup's not that great. I legitimately think he might be somewhat limited just because he's had so many setbacks and we weren't even sure he was going to play this week. So I didn't play him. Levitan played him. He made me consider it.
No
You
way.
can see.
The chat. We got 2.
Oh my God.
Let's go. There's 3.
I should have gave away the Ayuk jersey this
Let's
week.
go. Leone.
The best ball shares.
Oh
are
my
live.
God. He ripped
The
it out
best
of
ball
people's
shares are
hands. That
live.
was a man's touchdown. Let's go.
Yes. All right.
Woo!
Bring up the scoreboard. Let's see this.
We're not broke.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Yes.
So fading KCD and a lot of like Eckler. The team behind me's got KCD and Eckler, and they're only 5 points back.
about
6
that,
furlongs got Herbert, Keenan. Keenan's about to get the bonus, and he's got Goddard coming back the other way. Dollars, I think, done. He's got Ayuk, but he would need like 27 from Kelsey, 26 more from Kelsey, which is if Kelsey scores 26 points in the last 20 minutes of this game, I mean, no, so be it.
Kyle, I'm saying that we're not broke because I can speak for myself. I have a lot of Ayuk and best ball for some crazy reason. Matt Harmon likes him a lot. So I any touchdown, anything ever from Ayuk is currently a we, not just and I'm allowed to cheer for Leone every now and then, even though some of his teams are dead.
And
This specific team was not.
And I said we're not broke because Leone
no.
forgot that he gave me 80% of his Thunderdome action
Nice.
earlier today.
Yeah,
Well,
that whole that
Eckler,
Ayuk like that James Conner Ayuk mini stack though, guys, that we like almost put in our lineups. We decided to play a lot of bad players instead. Like maybe we just do that next week.
I imagine if we played Ayuk Connor instead of
You know what I mean?
Ayuk Edmonds. Like,
I can't.
If we
It's
just like
almost-
didn't play Ezekiel Elliott and play James Conner, like easy pivot.
man, yeah, Eckler though very quickly put in some stuff together. Had about a 10-yard run and then a 15-yard catch. So the good thing with Ayuk is there's like he's got a ton of time left, and they're gonna be like there's 20 minutes left in that game, and he's gonna be throwing the whole time. But the Jordan Love impending pick 6 is just pretty horrifying. Like every time he drops back, it's panic mode.
Chiefs D though, man.
But yeah, so on the McCaffrey thing, this was kind of my concern. Right, he has 5 targets. Like we needed more targets to be there. Now the team only ran. I'm looking at it, 57 plays, which actually that's light, but that's not crazy. Like that's kind of within the range of what you'd expect against New England. So he ended up exactly what we projected, basically 18 touches, what we had projected, and he played. And I think he was playable there if you expected that. And then if some of those carries turn into targets, you're happy.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things too, where you with the Connor and Ayuk stuff. I was mixing in Christian Kirk and Edmonds with Ayuk minis, but man, I thought I was really excited about that game just from, you have the late swap flexibility, you have a lot of moving parts within actives, and you also had just a little bit of steam on Rondell Moore, and it really opened up a lot of those guys as really good plays that the field didn't have all week to kind of salivate over.
Yeah. Chargers, I really hope they get this 4th and 1. I need them to basically run the clock out and kick the field goal. Yeah, I actually did swap from Rondale to Ayuk on this team. And shout out to you, Peter, and Gretch and Karain. You guys collectively were on the Ayuk side of things. I just felt like the team wasn't good enough for me to eat Rondale chalk. And I think we all kind of felt like the Ayuk ceiling was really good if he had the role. Obviously, Kittle ends up really not being on a pitch count, and Debo seems relatively fine, but both those guys being banged up, Mitchell being banged up, and Ayuk getting the full route participation last week. I think the term you used was wish casting, which you didn't want me to attribute to you since you said you didn't create it, but I like that term. So there's a little bit of wish casting with Ayuk, but there was with Rondale more too, and Rondale was going to be, triple the ownership.
Well, the thing with Ayuk, right, is, I mean, with Rondale, he's someone that we've all really wanted to be a thing all year. Whereas I feel like Ayuk had already burned people enough that they were over it, but it just made so much sense because literally no other skill position players were fully healthy on the Niners. And there were pitch count stuff for both the running backs, for Kittle, for Debo. And so Ayuk's just sitting there as this cheap guy who's fully healthy, and things were already trending in the right direction for him last week. So he seemed like a great play.
We've reached the point in the show where, Holka's just done. And
What do you mean?
He's just playing with his camera.
Hang on, go to our Brissett team. Is that thing have any chance of cashing? Because in another tournament I put it in, it's cashing.
We should have swapped. Oh my God, we are cashing.
I told you.
No way.
Oh man, is
Easy
this
game, man.
we have Devonta. Devonta.
3%.
Wow, I guess a 3%. This is where low ownership shines. This team that looks brutal has a 3% Devonta, 5% Ayuk, and is gonna cash.
Well, this is what we always
Dalvin
said.
Touchdown hurts.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was so much with Dalvin that hurt. What's our next ladder? What's our big page up stretch goal here?
Fuck, I wish we we should not. I should have swapped this team. That's my fault.
What do you mean?
mean,
If we would have swapped it, we wouldn't have KC defense, so we wouldn't be in this position anymore.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We wouldn't have swapped to anything better. You're absolutely right.
Oh, what? Unless it was James Conner.
This is
Which
a good
we
question.
wouldn't have done, James Conner.
No, no chance.
God, what the fuck am I doing? Okay, we're in 45th ish. We can jump $150 if we move to 30th.
Pull up Melissa's comment because I think the Browns were an interesting topic heading into GPPs today. Landry projecting decently and was getting a ton of ownership. And then Nick Chubb was that guy who early in the week was looking like he was going to be 10%. And then it was like all of the GPP bros collectively agreed by this morning that he was going to be fairly popular. I know all of us ended up playing some Chubb ourselves. He ended up being very popular, but Landry was never kind of on my radar. How were you guys thinking about the Landry chalk on DraftKings?
You go first, Leone, because Landry was just, the price was different on FanDuel, right? That's the only reason he was really popping in optimals.
Yeah, I just kind of felt like he's not the type of receiver I really want to play into chalk. I don't know. Like, that's kind of simplistic, but I didn't think he had a huge ceiling. I was pretty confident he wouldn't be like steamed, but that he'd be in that 15% range. I think that's where he ended up. And on the Chubb side of things, he has the type of upside that you want. It was a week that didn't have a ton of running back upside. So I felt better about his floor ceiling combination than I do a lot of weeks. Most of the time I avoid Chubb if he's going to be played. And we did discuss he'd get steamed a little bit, Peter, but we we're also kind of pretty sure he'd be third in line behind Eckler and Zeke. And that, that was the case. He was a pretty clear third. Even though, like you see, Eckler's 39%. I think Zeke was around the same. I'm trying to find, and Chubb comes in like 24. Zeke was 30 and Chubb was 24. So,
yeah.
I don't like some of these weeks you have to, especially in the small field stuff where you don't get all those 5% plays added up on guys that aren't that good. Like, you're going to have to eat some ceiling guys that are owned a little bit.
Look at this lineup. This lineup's pretty wild.
Oh, this is a random lineup.
I know, just a random lineup, but I just couldn't help but looking at it. I mean, some truly nice Galaxy Braid plays. Basically no correlation whatsoever.
Naked Derek Carr. Oh, Darrell Williams was a guy that popped in my stuff I completely ignored. In retrospect, I do think it was a great play.
He was expensive on FanDuel. It was like a really big difference between DraftKings and FanDuel and Darrell.
He's gone out at the 1 yard line twice on separate drives. He could be smashing at a pretty low price tag.
I had some Chubb. So I played 3 main teams on FanDuel. Chubb ended up being like 30%, guys, on like the smaller field stuff on FanDuel, and the price was like pretty decent. Obviously, a little bit more touchdown heavy. So I ended up with I did have a Burrow stack with Chubb on the other side of it. Hopefully, speed the game up. But basically, one other main team had a mini stack with Higgins, and then I also had a mini stack with Chase. But the Chubb thing, I didn't think you'd be near. I mean, I didn't think it'd be 30%, and it just ended up being a situation like in that range. It was like you were either going to play Zeke, ended up being like lower owned than Chubb on FanDuel, which I find like really hilarious, honestly, because the price difference wasn't super big, and I probably just would have played Zeke in a vacuum. So I don't know, man. It ended up being like I wanted a piece of this Cincinnati and Cleveland game, so I ended up with more Chubb mini stacks. But man, I didn't expect them to be close to 30% at all.
I really liked playing it with the Cincy side. I did a Burrow double with Chubb as my main team on FanDuel.
Yep.
And T. Higgins came in at 12% in my contest, and Chase was 18. So you got to keep your eye on the pricing on the different sites. Where like in a GPP vacuum, you would much rather have played T on FanDuel and Chase on DraftKings, which seems backwards because the way the pricing is, but the ownership is almost more important because it's not like you're getting guys hitting their exact projection, right? You're just hoping one of the guys pops off, and you want to play on the site where you're getting more reward, even if it costs you a little bit more dollars wise in salary.
Yeah, T was like 6% in some of the small field FanDuel stuff. But man, like my team that I have, a T and Nick Chubb mini stack was my Mahomes team. So I was thinking I was in decent position. Mahomes 4%, McCole Hardman 3%, Travis Kelce 8%. Obviously, Tyreek was very owned at 24%, but like had a lot of stuff coming and a defense as well with like some of those mini stacks early on. So this team is looking pretty dead. I'm an 87th out of 108th. Mahomes, like just one time, like I don't know, 4% Mahomes. I thought I was in a reasonable spot here.
Yeah, I think that's a really good play. 4% Mahomes. I mean,
yeah.
I initially wasn't on Mahomes because I thought he'd be close enough to Allen and Lamar, but 4%. I mean, that's agreed. And did you have Kelce on that team?
I did. It was a triple stack.
What was Kelce?
Kelce was 8%. This is in the 888, so it's pretty small. It's only 100 people.
Is phenomenal. Like at a combined 12% on FanDuel with their pricing. That's great.
Like in comparison, like Lamar in this same contest was 35%, Marquise Brown 21%, even Stephon Diggs 40%.
I can't believe Marquise was steamed on there too because he was really expensive there.
Yeah. Oh, he was like not like if you're just like literally looking at projections and point per dollar, Marquise Brown was probably like $800 too expensive at least on FanDuel.
I really think that's my biggest whiff all year. And as Peter said, like need to start making that adjustment going forward with the chalk quarterback. You know, I know people play cash games and tournaments a lot, but there's too many people that are hand building and going to force that stack.
Yeah, I heard Drewby mention that earlier in the season of just how much like single entry ownership will follow like kind of the cash game plays where, you know, people aren't playing Marquise Brown in their cash games, but then they go to build their tournament lineup and they start with a similar thing. They're like, well, this is where I can play that thing where it becomes like the chalk GPP lineup construction or the cash GPP construction for a tournament.
God, every time I look, the Packers are starting from inside their own 5-yard line.
Yeah. Have we looked at our DAC team yet? I mean, I know it's miserable, but we could talk about some of the exposures there.
This was our DAC team, which I
no
thought
Malik
Schultz
Turner.
was a really good. Honestly, I thought Lamb might have even come in lower.
I mean, these percentages. Why don't we have a Hardman percentage?
Oh, that's weird.
We were so dead. I haven't refreshed.
I mean, I'm pretty. Was Sutton much less than Judy here? Because Judy at 16 is a little surprising to me.
I'm assuming Sutton was less. It looks like everything was a little higher in Dallas, Denver than we expect. Like not bad, but like a little bit higher on all the guys. Like Dak's a little higher than I thought.
He is, yeah.
CD and Schultz are like, I mean, you're splitting hairs when you say 7-8% instead of 5. But I really thought those guys would be. I thought we could get Schultz sub 5 this week.
Yeah, and this was another one where I think I did slightly prefer Sutton, but that $500 or whatever was pretty impactful there when you were trying to get in. all of these.
One thing, sorry to cut you off, but I was just thinking about it that I want to point out. If you're in a tournament, and first of all, I think this DAC team was good. Like, I think this was a smart double stacks. I'm not saying that, but make a team like this. But when there's chalk like Zeke and Amari Cooper, I think sometimes people feel like, oh, I have to play, a Dallas leverage piece if I'm not playing those guys. And dude, sometimes an offense just goes bad. So I think it was smart to do that. But I know some people who ask me, they feel like in all of their lineups, they like have to make that move. And I don't, sometimes you just gotta hope those guys don't get there and not try and envision exactly how it happens.
Yeah, I really liked how this set up for those leverage plays because again, we had Lamb was a little banged up too. So for Schultz, and then the Jarwin stuff with Jarwin, being out for the year, I felt like that didn't get covered a ton, just partly because everyone loved the Zeke and Amari price. And I feel like on a different slate, or if the tight end pricing was tighter, like I could have seen Schultz be the guy that gets steamed hard because people like this game. And so, yeah, I think that's an interesting conversation of like forcing like the double there, but at least with Schultz, I mean, Schultz as a standalone play was, I think, one of the better plays on the slate.
Yeah.
Before you touch on that, what was Amari's price? He had been super cheap on.
He was 5,700.
Right? Okay.
I don't think
because he's 6% in FanDuel, so I assume it's just like a different pricing thing.
Like I have zero regrets on this team. I'm just saying, like, but then we made a team without Zeke with no Dallas as well, I guess is what I mean. Like our 1,500 team. We didn't force a Dallas piece to be leveraged. We just didn't play Cooper. We didn't play Zeke.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I meant. I thought the DAC team was pretty sharp.
Yeah. And
Chargers, my heroes, they went for it on 4th and 1, and now they can run the clock down and hopefully make the field goal.
Someone said Ayuk had another 10-yarder.
Yes, he did. Where is he from these? 11 yards from the bonus.
Oof, that'd be nice. That'd be some nice cushion.
Yeah.
The Dak double on FanDuel, boys. Dak 6%, Amari 5.6%, CD 7.2%. Rest in peace, Joe. I don't even I don't regret any part of this team.
No, I mean that sounds great. Like and you know what? You got the exact script you wanted to. It's just they just sucked. And
this is my Chubb Thielen team, or my Chubb T theme, like my Chubb and T Higgins mini stack with Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, CD Lamb at sub 10%. Like, yeah, it's hard to be pissed off about that.
Yeah, for sure. Someone please tackle Eckler. Oh my God. Okay. I thought Eckler was going to score. Okay, I think the Chargers are going to clock it and kick a short field goal now. Eckler almost broke one. That was kind of scary.
I think one other thing about this week is building actually felt a little easier, especially compared to last week. And we also, I think all of us were saying we were able to get in most of the plays we wanted this week. I mean, maybe there were a couple other quarterbacks we would have liked to mess around with, but for the most part, I felt like those correlations we were pretty dialed into.
Yeah, I felt like I made some shitty teams last week, so I actually played less teams this week, which sometimes is really hard. But yeah, like you said, I still got in all the things I wanted, even though I played less teams. And sometimes when I play less teams, I think I find that balance a little bit better, where I don't force correlation in every spot and I don't force like a fade in every spot. Sometimes when I make a lot of teams, I'm like, oh, I'm making 5-6 teams, so I can literally force it to be correlated like all the way down. Whereas like I thought Diggs was a really good one-off play this week. I got that in a lineup. It didn't work, but
yeah. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. I know we kind of already talked about this with the Diggs stuff, is where like last year we did see a lot more games where Allen just kind of dialed in to him and he benefited as a one-off. And now it's just like I'm starting to even wonder. I mean, I know you were saying that his target share is still solid. It just feels like this iteration of the Bills is having a hard time supporting a one-off Diggs.
Yeah, it is coming down a little bit. I'll pull it up.
Now we can get some real spreadsheet version talk here.
The other thing that's happened with Diggs, aside from the target share, is that they've their defense has played really well, right? So like they're a little bit less aggressive. So Diggs' target share is down to 24%, but we're at 2 straight weeks where it's dipped, but like to start the season, it was, 28, 24, 23, 36. Like, that's basically what we want to see. And it has started to come down. So now it's starting to get into like, well, now do we get concerned a little bit?
What about another guy in a similar vein on a way less interesting team? What's the deal with DJ Moore? What was his target share today?
Did he get hurt? I watched a play where he got cracked in the ribs and was down. I don't know if he came back.
I saw that
7 targets.
So he had a 25% target share, it looks like. So,
well, look at these receiving numbers. 3 running backs in the top 4. Tells you all you need to know about Sam Darnold today.
It's so funny. Darnold, we kind of had like we were having the reclamation season for Darnold 3 weeks in. It's hard to play as bad as Sam Darnold has for the stretch that he's played.
We all wanted it to be that narrative of once you leave Adam Gase, that you ball out.
We also all love the Carolina players too, so we were like, yeah, let's go. And now I'm sitting here like, why didn't you draft Justin Fields?
Yeah. Oh my, yeah.
Something else I want to talk to you guys about, and I know I touched on it like kind of as we were building. I'm trying to do a little bit of a hybrid now versus just like completely like manually hand building some of these teams. So I've been like back testing ceiling, all that stuff, like, and even just like moving to ceiling, it still feels like some of these decisions are so close projection wise, Pete. So like, is there like a lot of value even looking at like I think the most value is like, okay, the Kirk Cousins stacks, like you're sacrificing like 15 points of ceiling to try and make those Cousins stacks work in comparison to like even the Burrow stacks to where maybe you're sacrificing like 5 to 8 points of ceiling. I'm still trying to like figure out the best way to do that and use it in my I feel like maybe I got a little bit too chalky in spots this week. I ended up with, I basically locked Gaskin and Chubb on my main teams, which was fine. But I also ended up being like more chalky than I probably should have been just because it was giving me like a little bit more ceiling on some of those stacks that I had. Like I ended up playing a Burrow stack, a Dak stack, and a Mahomes stack on my 3 main teams, which was popping for a lot of ceiling. The Lamar stuff did really well also. But how are you doing that? You're back testing your optimals essentially and your hand builds to make sure you don't get too contrarian and kind of too off the board. Is that the thought process?
Yeah. I like typing in, I have in my spreadsheet, basically my own really hacked together lineup builder. And then it adds up the total ownership and the Mike's total ceiling projections from ETR. And then I just like to compare, and there's no like hard and fast rules. You're kind of feeling it out. And like one example for this week, and I'm curious Mike's thoughts on this. Allen had a massive ceiling projection. I think Leone had it at 42. And so one thing I was being cognizant of is if I wasn't using Allen, not being like, oh, I'm sacrificing way too much projected ceiling. Cause he was like, 10 ahead of most non-Lamar quarterbacks in ceiling projection. So I was kind of manually adjusting even from the optimal ceiling lineup. So there's a lot of, I think, finesse with that stuff.
Yeah, I do think, Joe, too, the teams that you mentioned, you played ceiling at running back and you ate some chalk, but you played 3 stacks that weren't main stacks, right? So true. I always feel like you got to kind of figure out where your edge is. And if you think the ceiling running backs are worth playing at chalk, then you got to get off the board with your stacks. And you did that. The problem would have been if you played a Baltimore stack. And on FanDuel too, the Allen stuff was a lot chalkier. And, Allen Diggs was really chalky, I'm assuming, with Diggs' price over there.
Crazy.
That I think you did enough to eat some of that chalk. But when you say back testing, like what do you exactly?
I don't mean it. Exactly? I don't mean it like I'm running sims. I mean like more or less like if I'm trying to figure out and the super small stuff that I'm doing, right? So it's more or less I wanted to figure out some of the top double stacks / triple stacks that I could have done at somewhat lower ownership. So I was basically testing out a bunch of different combinations of the highest team totals to try and capture all the touchdowns. I've been talking a little bit with my chat too, just about like these rushing quarterbacks in a really small field. If you have Lamar, if you have Josh Allen, if you have Jalen Hurts, every rushing touchdown that happens, essentially, if you're trying to overstack like I am in these contests, you're taking away a good chunk of your ceiling every single touchdown that doesn't go to one of your wide receivers, right? So it's not that I'm trying to like completely go down to some of these pocket passers, but some of the ones that have like a legitimate ceiling, like Dak, like Mahomes, like Joe Burrow, if I can get all of those touchdowns through the air on a triple stack or a double stack on a team that's going to be passing a lot at lower ownership, that's what I've been kind of trying to piece together. Obviously, this slate was a little bit different. We didn't have any Rams. We didn't have any Bucks. So those are like kind of the super high end, like pass above expectation teams. But I do think that like trying to capture all of those touchdowns with these guys that there isn't really like a huge threat for them to have a rushing touchdown and take away from like your basically your double touchdown equity that you get with your stack. So I basically was going in and running optimals from a ceiling perspective on some of the double and triple stacks that I liked from like a high end team total perspective, and tried to build around some chalk on some of those and also get at least some sort of tweak involved with that, but whatever wouldn't completely take away from my ceiling. So I ran it completely wide open first. And I think most of the ceiling stuff was around like 180 FanDuel points. But then running the Mahomes doubles, the Burrow doubles, whatever, the Dak triples, most of those would be anywhere from like 100 and I think it was like 10 ceiling points below, essentially, just to add in like that extra correlation. But then some of them, like the Kirk Cousins stuff, was like you're giving up like 15 to 20 points of ceiling just by doubling and tripling Kirk Cousins. So at that point, I tried to stick to some of these teams that I thought would be a little bit lower. I mean, Dak at sub 5%, Mahomes at sub 8%, Burrow, I think, I don't know what he was, but I still think I accomplished most of what I set out to do. And the correlation stuff at some point, like unless you get some weird touchdowns, which happens in these super small fields, like if I get Burrow to throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns and I can capture 3 of them through the wide receivers, like you're basically there. And then you get the chalk around it. At least that was the thought process. But I think maybe I overdid it this week.
I feel like you're like on FanDuel, I'm a lot more hesitant to do like triples and even sometimes doubles is sort of what, just because of what you said about the ceiling and the touchdowns mattering so much there. So I don't know. Like it sounds like you're doing it in a smart way where you're like, you should always be checking to make sure you're not steering too far from projection that it just becomes unrealistic.
Right.
But I don't know. It's tough. It's kind of a field thing, but I haven't really, and it does depend on the field size a little bit too.
Yeah. And like, look at Wiggins' team in this Thunderdome contest. Cause I believe he played Dalvin and Jefferson.
He played Conklin and Jefferson.
Okay. Yeah. And then what did he have? Bateman and Andrews as well. But I think, but with those guys, he can get, those guys don't feel like they're cannibalizing their TDs quite as much. I guess that's trying to figure out like how negatively correlated are some of those plays. And then it probably gets magnified way more on FanDuel where those touchdowns are so important.
Could be. Still working through it. I'm like, there's part of me that felt like I was leaving something on the table by doing these skinny stacks in like such a small field, because then I have to get like.
How small are you talking?
Most of my contests are under 150 people.
Yeah, I still think like on FanDuel, touchdowns matter so much. Not that you can't triple, but like I wouldn't take the skinnies off the table, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in a small field, I understand you want to really reduce the things you get right, because I do too, but just the way the scoring works. And also not just the scoring system, but when the pricing's looser too, and you can play so many stars, I feel like it's harder too to give up the correlation a little bit too, because you're a little bit easier to capture and actually hit on that uncorrelated individual upside at spots, a little bit more than you are on DraftKings where the pricing's tighter and you're like not necessarily playing as good of guys in terms of raw projection.
It's fair. But I struggle like just staring at Dak at 3% and Mahomes at 4%. You know what I mean? Because like if those guys completely hit their ceiling, they're probably not getting a rushing touchdown, either of those guys, right? So
Well, they
grabbing
might be. I mean, the rushing touchdowns were.
maybe, but like for them to completely go nuclear, like you hope they throw 3 or 4, like they probably 4 or 5 touchdowns to go nuclear, right? And at that point, they're probably bringing their guys along with them who are also pretty low ownership overall, especially
Yeah.
the Dallas guys this week.
I
The
guess what
Dallas setup,
happens, though,
the
like
Dallas setup was amazing this week, right? Can we agree on that? All of us love the
oh
Dallas
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, dude. I thought the teams you said you made, the stacks you made, were all made a ton of sense, like
Yeah.
100%. I'm just saying, like macro, like forcing like triples all the time. I don't think you have to. And with it being a small field, I know what you're saying. It's like, oh, if Dak or Mahomes goes nuclear, these guys are going to get there. But if you're a 143 person field, like you kind of don't want to be too picky about thinking about exactly the outcome that happens. You know, like Mahomes could go for 290 and 3 and get there, right?
Oh,
Like,
shit. Oh, fuck. We're going to need some Ayuk.
Yeah.
You're going to be down by what, 0.3?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Mason Crosby missing 2 field goals is really just max pain.
Good God. 8:55. How much time do we have in 49ers game? About 8 minutes too.
Yeah.
Evan's asking me to assess your team, Leone. Unlike you, I'm going to root for you today. I hope you win, man. I really hope you do. I'm not going to trash on your team. I hope you win.
He was looking a lot better 20 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Jeez. Am I just a softie, or when everyone wants to just like bury these quarterbacks like after their first career game? Like everyone did it with Tua last year. Everyone's like, Jordan Love is trash. I never want to see. It's like it's the dude's fucking first career game, like on the road at Arrowhead. Like why is everybody so hard on these guys?
You know what's I'm just gonna throw in some extra tilt here. I ran super pure on this Texans D, getting 15 points at 2,400, and I'd be locked into first place if I just played the punt Chiefs D. Like
that's the issue with all this stuff, right? Like once you go down that rabbit hole of saying like I am going to identify good chalk and what's bad chalk.
I have no problem not playing the Chiefs D. It's just like it's like an extra twist of the knife to like get the outcome from the Texans D, like basically the 95th percentile outcome, maybe 98th percentile outcome. And then also the Chiefs D like has gotten there like some fluky ways a little bit. I mean, they blocked a field goal. There was a missed field goal. There was a punt that went off a blocker who fell down that they recovered for a fumble. Ugh, Jordan Love, buddy, what are you doing?
We need like Packers pick 6 kind of thing.
Yep, Packers pick 6, kick the extra point to ruin the shutout.
Exactly.
And Albert 56% in this too. Who did you play at tight end, Leone?
I played Albert O. I did it.
No, I'm just saying, and I'm like not even trashing it. It's more or less like I heard you and Dink talking about this. Like tight end is so bad some weeks to where like if you take a big stand against this 56% owned tight end, you played Dan Arnold and you gained 4 points on the field.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like unless you end up like just block boxing into one of these guys that completely laps the field, it doesn't really even like do a ton for you. And maybe defense is similar to where like the normal range of outcomes for defense should be anywhere from like 6 to 12 points max. Like these like 15-point defenses, 17-point defenses, just doesn't happen very often anyways. So I don't know, man. Like the 2 positions with a lot of variance, yeah, but like how tight is the range of outcomes? Like I don't know. I don't know. I never know what to do with these like super like $2,600 Alberto. Like I guess you just have to figure out what that does for the rest of your team.
Yeah, I thought in a vacuum he was a pretty bad play, but it just like this team doesn't work without Albert O.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I was fading T. Higgins, Ezekiel Elliott, and Austin Eckler. And I kind of felt like this is where I was trying to, I feel like sometimes I've been too unwilling to play like the Albert O type play when the rest of the team dictates that it's kind of okay, even though I know in a vacuum it's not okay, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe that's just a rationalization to play Albert O, but that's sort of how I was thinking about it. God.
Yeah, I mean,
First down for
it makes a
Arizona.
ton of sense though, like the way you're built. Like if you think through that, so you're playing the Lamar double, you're bringing it back with Dalvin Cook on the other side. You know you loved the Chubb and Chase correlation. So now we're down to what? 3 spots in your lineup: a wide receiver, a tight end, and defense. And you know that defense is gonna have to be sub 2,500. That wide receiver is gonna have to be sub, 4,000 basically. Like, yes, the only thing when you sent this lineup over, I thought was the 2v2. Could you have gotten to Conklin and Hardman instead of Ayuk, Akui Bunam?
No.
Were you 100 off of that?
I was 100 off. Yeah, because Conklin I think was 3K. Let me see. Yeah, Conklin was 3K, so that was 400, and I believe Hardman was 3,900.
Okay, so even then, like the kind of justifiable pivots just don't fit. So then you run into that wall, and then I do really and that's what happened to us on that other lineup where we had the Chiefs defense, where it's like you get in every single other play you like, and it just happens that the best projected, chalk thing is what fits. Like, I get it. You're not going to re-tear things down just to save, that ownership.
The Packers in theory should get good field position. The Chiefs are punting from their own end zone, but every freaking punt I've seen from the Chiefs has been the Packers fumbling it or it's somehow rolling inside the 10-yard line. So we shall see. The Ayuk bonus just would be so huge because that's like 5 points, a catch for 11 yards plus the 3. Yeah, that's 5 points, and then you're clear of another turnover. You're not clear of a touchdown, but you're clear of another turnover.
Right.
Big 3rd and 3. The Niners need to get the freaking ball back though. They can't stop Colt McCoy and get the ball back.
Yeah, this is a big 3rd and 3.
James Conner, 40 points.
And James Conner out of the.
What am I doing? I could have gave away the James Conner jersey this week. I was like, nah, he's not relevant this week. We'll wait till a different week where he's relevant. Jesus.
How close is Conner to the double bonus? 29 receiving yards and 7 rushing.
I mean, if Edmonds were to miss significant amount of time, I mean, do you think they, start to work in an Eno Benjamin a lot more? Or do you think like James Conner is like a top 5 back going forward just with this usage?
I think there's going to be a lot of James Conner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I'd go quite as far as I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if he plays the Conner role and the Edmonds role, that is kind of top 5.
Yeah.
This pass game work from him has to be super encouraging.
What's Rondell at? 5 for 25. Ugh.
Yeah, Kirk's all the way up for 5 for 95.
Oh man, Love's just throwing up prayers at this point.
Why aren't they doing more screen game stuff with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon?
I don't know. Right now, they're blitzing and they have numbers advantages, and it's just Love's just trying to throw a one-on-one ball to Adams, which I mean, I guess there's worse guys to throw a one-on-one ball to, but
yeah,
it doesn't seem like they're not really scheming him too much help here. So, oh man, 0.3.
So gross.
Let's see here.
We need the classic.
Can we just get like AJ Dillon loose for a touchdown somehow, just on a fluky play?
That'd be fun.
Ooh, Randall Cobb making a nice play after the catch, getting a first down. The thing that kind of stinks with Green Bay right now, too, though, is with the time remaining in the game, they got to go for a touchdown. So we can't even get bailed out by the field goal, most likely, unless we get like a real long 4th and long, but we probably can't get bailed out by the field goal, which if Crosby just makes one of those field goals, I mean, that's really and one of them was blocked, which is 2 points.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So 3rd and 7 for, oh boy. He had Adams open, but he was way under pressure. San Francisco used their last time out, so this is a huge 3rd and 7. We need them to stop Arizona to get the ball back here. Arizona just ran a give up draw. It looks like on the play-by-play.
Interesting.
It's good for us. Give us some Ayuk, just anything, baby.
Thank God the Chiefs have the night game next week.
They've been frustrating.
And the Rams. This is great. No, the slate next week, amazing. I don't have to worry about Cooper Kupp. I don't have to worry about Patrick Mahomes. I don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill. I don't worry about Travis Kelce. I don't have to worry about even after this great game from George Kittle. Don't care. He's on Monday. Awesome. Next week's gonna be amazing.
Shit, yeah, Green Bay's definitely in fourth down or TD or bust mode.
Do you know who else has been just a constant tease this year, kind of in the same vein as Diggs, is Darren Waller?
Waller's game log,
Sunday
if you
night.
go back to the beginning of last year, is pretty hysterical. Like, he's got like 10 mediocre games. Then the end of last year, first game of this year's, these Aaron Jones, nice run. He has like these huge ceiling games, and then since then it's been like all mediocre games. I don't know, what was his final line today? Do you know?
No. I just remember seeing a couple of the red zone targets, but
he had one
16,
that looked like he should have
16.
caught.
11 targets. He was 8 yards short of the bonus.
Yeah, that's a tease game.
Yeah.
Oh man, Love, buddy. Oh, he's just not easy to watch.
oh,
Honestly, I don't think I've ever hit the George Kittle game like in my life. Like,
I
literally
can't
ever.
believe I didn't play. I wasn't going to play it on this team. The team I was going to play it on was dead anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I am kind of mad at myself for not playing it.
eight for 92. The chat says. Guess that's not horrendous.
No, that's not the. But I mean,
What you're paying for up there, though, he's not getting there. He's much closer these days to like a Mark Andrews mid-tier tight end than he is to like peak Travis Kelce tight end.
yeah.
Man, Tyreek has fucking 5 points.
I know. I've run so pure on these afternoon performances,
Holy
except for the KCD. It's like the only one.
I still believe we need some Ayuk.
If you were to tell me
on,
that
Ayuk,
Rashad
get the ball. At
Bateman
least
was
we're
going to
getting the ball
outscore Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Adam Thielen, Mike Williams, DJ Moore,
Oh
Amari
my God, the
Cooper,
KC
Tyreek
defender
Hill,
just made a
CD
phenomenal
Lamb.
play. Love made a really good pass under pressure to one-on-one to Cobb.
Yeah, I almost thought that might have been a
PI.
yeah.
I was hoping for it. It was a good ball. I mean, it's a pretty it's a pretty good play by the defender.
I think we have to set our sights on Ayuk. He's our only hope.
Yeah, we got a touchback, so give San Fran some room. Let's go, Ayuk. They're going to be chucking, so we got a chance. He's going to be out there.
One Trey Lance.
Seriously.
So
Jesus.
the Niners, I believe, play the Rams next week, so they could be looking 3-5, and we might get. I wonder if we get Lance down the stretch if that happens.
I hope so.
That'd be dope. That would be dope.
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I mean, we need it. We need some kind of rookie QB playoff heroics. I don't even really care where it comes from.
I mean, really any rookie
Wait,
QB
wait,
at
wait.
this point, right?
Someone said Green Bay scored.
What?
The defense? Oh,
What?
Lazard.
Lazard? What?
House
I
no.
really love you, Alan Lazard.
Look at this. Let's go.
Let's freaking go.
Take it. We'll take it.
Holy shit.
4th and 5.
Fuck you, Chiefs D.
Oh, Lazard. Oh, Sorensen. Oh, he's always good for a missed tackle. Thank you, Sorensen.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You guys could talk about the Sorensen tackle, but that was my guy, Jordan Love, just putting that thing on a rope.
I told you, man. People are being way too hard on this guy.
Oh, Let's go.
Oh, thank goodness. Make the extra point, please.
Yeah.
Extra points, another 3 points. Give us some breathing room. Get us out of strip sack distance.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I had no idea that Trevor Siemian was on the Saints until the game started today.
You don't play season long leagues where you picked up Taysom Hill everywhere.
Never considered one person in that game.
Is Wiggins min cashing this too? Nice, he is.
Look at Leone. You know, just
What's Wiggins'
congrats
team?
to my friend's mid cash.
Garoppolo, I think, threw.
He's got a Garoppolo team.
No.
Wiggins is like a small pivot off of the chalk usually, right?
Yeah, he got off.
Lamar, Zeke.
Like he got a little bit more off. He didn't play Albert. Oh, to Pete's point, like the Conklin play was good if you can afford it.
Yeah. So what was
Bateman
his?
was a
Pretty
good
heavy
play,
stack
too.
on that game, mostly just right, and then the T Higgins Chubb one or mini.
Yeah, like chalk at running back, and then played Bateman, Andrews, which is ownership wise kind of the double you wanted.
Yeah.
T like and two in the dome, like 23% looks like a lot, but like that's
not bad.
That's not bad in the dome. I thought Higgins was gonna be like 35 here. And he was really surprised. Other people played the Saints at 3,700. He thought for sure he was going to be the only one in the Saints.
49ers turned the ball over, it sounds like.
Yeah. Ayuk had a target to play before, too. Arizona has a 3rd and 2, which if they get, that's going to be ball game if they get it.
So, I mean, you're in really good shape. I mean, I don't want to mush anything, but you're in good shape.
6 right now.
Yeah, which is a sweat.
Yeah, I mean the way it's gone, it's not. Let's not. Yeah, I'm not going to kid myself and say I'm not nervous, but it's down to at least that.
It's a chalkier team than normal for you, I feel like, in this, Leone.
Yeah, it is. I was trying again, like I said, to not go. I feel like at times I've gone like a little too gal brain, but. Again, in the dome, like I didn't play Zeke, who was 53%. I didn't play Eckler, who was 40%. You know, I didn't play T. Higgins, who I thought T was going to be more like 35 and Marquise more like 15, which I was just wrong on.
It's crazy. You look at this small of a field. It looks like you've got some big numbers in there, but you really don't in comparison to like exactly what you're saying, like Zeke and those guys.
Yeah, like I've got 3 guys at 40% plus that I didn't play, you know, like. Yeah. And that's where the Albert O conversation comes in, where it's like, do I need to make a 4th fade just because? And I'm still not sure, but
as a one-off, maybe it's bad.
And it was a one-off.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe if it's like a DAX stack, you can justify it a little bit more than walking into the 56% one-off.
But the problem is it was the final piece of the puzzle.
2,600 made that team work, essentially.
Exactly, yeah.
If there was like last week, I played Jordan Akins. You know, I Gale brained that one over Dan Arnold, and I was actually kind of okay with that. You know, but I didn't see a playable tight end at this price this week. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't remember there even being like another option.
Yeah, I think it was fine.
Why did I go Dalvin instead of the mini pass catchers? I initially had Jefferson on this team, but I just felt like Dalvin was going to be low, and I wanted to kind of not eat up a running back spot, and just the way I fooled around with it. I was playing Chase Chubb for sure, and then I got onto Marquise Andrews. Albert O kind of made it work, and then there wasn't really a cheap running back I liked, so I went cheap wide receiver with Dalvin instead of Jefferson with a cheap running back. There was no 4K. There was no guy at Ayuk's price tag at running back.
Yeah.
We got 2-minute warning here. Who has the ball? Cardinals?
Yeah, Cardinals just got stopped. So the Niners will get the ball back, but there's going to be like a minute left. And I think Cardinals are actually going to kick the field goal. So I don't know if they'll try if the Cardinals make a field goal.
How much Cooper Cup is too much Cooper Cup?
I mean, on DraftKings, it looks like he's going to be the most popular captain by about double.
Yeah,
What-
you feel like you got to go elsewhere then at captain
man.
at least.
I'm out of my. I used to just play the wide receivers at 8%, and now they're 30. So
Well, AJ Brown is your play because Henderson and the quarterbacks are going to be popular too.
What about Julio?
Now there.
Julio!
I mean, he's a little old for my taste, but sounds right up your alley.
All right, KC getting first downs is good. Just run the clock out. Don't give Jordan Love a chance to do anything.
This McCole Hardman thing. Normally, I don't like fall into that trap. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe this is McCole Hardman week. He's gonna be 2%, 5 points.
What's he
Well-
doing? 5 points.
The hard part, Joe, I was looking at this. If we go back through Mahomes' career, like he's at 4.3 yards per attempt today.
In his defense, he has the same amount of points as Tyreek Hill.
But look at, so he's at 4.3 yards per attempt today. That makes his 5th game in 9 games under 6 yards per attempt. I don't like, did he do that once last year? Like, did he hasn't done that 5 times in his entire career, I don't think.
Are they bro? Like, how do we rationalize this then?
He did it 1 game last year, and he's done it 5 times this year.
And the offensive line is better.
And
Sammy Watkins, man, he's the glue.
trying to look, 2019,
I
he
just
did
registered
it
for a
1
lot
time
of
in
showdown.
2019. Debo's getting some garbage time run here. Yeah, I don't know, but what do you guys have takes on the Mahomes stuff? I'm at the point where we can't just say it's fine, but like I also don't think we should panic.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I played it on one team today. Again, like similar to the Dak one. I thought like the lineup like set up really nice with, fading Tyreek, which I thought a lot of people were going to use as a one-off, and then using Mecole and Kelsey. And I didn't run it back in mine. I like stared at Aaron Jones, but just I ended up liking other plays around the same price point. And this was, me evolving as a player, not forcing bringbacks in some of those situations. But yeah, I don't know. I have nothing smart to say about, what's going on with Mahomes as a passer or whatever. I would assume this is just a blip still, but who knows?
The scary thing is
like
like the way they're priced though. Like they're priced for their longer term ceiling / even median at this point, right? And if that's changed, like that's not going to be something that the sites are just going to start to price down. I would imagine we're not going to see a 7K Tyreek Hill. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but Tyreek Hill's got 250-point games this year, right? Like,
yeah.
Like Kelsey's the guy, and he had a decent game today. Well, decent, I guess, relatively. And Niners game is over. So we are fading the Love pick 6.
Yeah, I think, and the thing too, I think the trend you'll see is, people will still feel comfortable using Tyreek and Kelsey as one-offs, but you're just not going to be seeing people stacking them until the price really comes down again.
Am I allowed to victory lap my 8-1 Arizona Cardinals, Leone?
Yeah,
dude. I'm allowed to do that. I might have to go to a playoff game this year. Thinking about it. I've never been to a game in Cardinal Stadium before my entire life.
Really?
Wow.
Yep.
Have you been to a playoff game before?
Oh, he's been to
Just in Minnesota, yeah.
Oh,
the Diggs game.
The Diggs game. That's so amazing. I went to I went to a Cam versus Kaepernick playoff game, I think it was, in Carolina.
Wow.
That the Niners won. It was kind of a boring game, but it was fun to go to one.
I see A Raven on Twitter just gave you a GG.
He's trying to mush it.
Yeah.
God. I'd be doing the same thing. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I really want to go to a Bills playoff game this year. You know, last year with the COVID stuff, I used to have season tickets, but you know, it's just as DFS evolved and whatnot, it became literally impossible to go to the games and be working in my job.
You just feel so blind at games, man. Like, it's cool, the atmosphere, all that stuff, but like the entire time, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
I don't mind that aspect of it. When you say you don't know what's going on, do you mean like of other games or of the game you're watching?
Well, the game that I actually care about, fantasy football, I have no idea what's happening.
No, yeah. I don't know how it is in Minnesota. The Bills Stadium, there's just no service.
Oh, it's like that in ours too. I mean, just in general, like that many people in one area, like your phone doesn't work in the building.
So, and God, I'm gonna sound like such a old man. Get off my lawn.
Here we go.
I got to the point, dude. It's a long day. You know, it's like a 45-minute drive there, parking. You know, you get there to tailgate, traffic the way home. You look
So
at like
the stadium's 45 minutes from your house.
Yeah, maybe not 45 with game day traffic.
That's a hike.
That's a hike. Yeah.
It's in the South towns. It's, you know, it's not in the city. Granted, if it was in the city, the traffic would be so bad, it'd probably be 45 minutes anyways. I do not leave the game. When I go for the whole game. I used to go, I used to be at that. I went to, for the duration of the drought, I've missed like very few games. But yeah, it's a long day. It's expensive when you can just kind of sit at home, you know, with no one has a TV that's not nice in today's day and age. Like there's like almost not a bad TV.
The experience is so much better. It's not even funny.
You know, follow fantasy and whatnot. Casey takes a knee, so it is over.
I feel like I've become a prude with it too, where like the instances, I guess the two things is, unless Patrick Laird, I get to meet him after the game, the only situations I would want to go to a game would be island game, preferably a Thursday or Monday night, and good seats. Like those, if it checks those two boxes, like I'm there.
The island games are very fun sweats.
The island games.
Very fun sweats.
The island games.
Yeah.
Like Joe said, it's too hard on Sundays because then you're looking at your phone at red zone and shit. And it's just like,
well, dude, if it's a noon game, like even today, like today was scrambly. Like I was tweaking lineups until like literally the last 30 seconds. You can't do that if you're trying to get in the stadium. Like it's nightmare, complete nightmare.
Yeah. Night games are great too because, I mean, Sunday, like that's like your entire Sunday, right? So that's one of your 2 weekend days, right? And then, but if it's a Monday night game, like you go after work, right? Like, it's doesn't, you know, you might be a little tired the next day, but I can, you know, you suck that up.
And the Thursdays are great too, man.
Right. Thursday.
Because most of the content's done by Thursday until like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this. The lead up content is done by Thursday. The real content that starts like after Thursday, like you still have to wait for like all the stuff to come through on Friday, Saturday, right?
That's how my week is, dude. Tuesday, Wednesday are whirlwind, getting everything set up.
Yep.
Thursday's light. Friday morning, early afternoon are pretty light. And then Friday night's busy. Saturday morning's really busy. And then I kind of try to take a break until Sunday morning.
I love the entire chat is congratulating you. We want you to like smash a beer can on your forehead and you're talking about your content schedule.
Let's go. Brandon Ayuk. I didn't doubt it at all. There was at no point in which I was tilting him having a negative rush and having negative yards at one point during the game. Never did I waver.
This is good news, man. We can put a dollar amount on the thumbnail now. This is great.
Yeah, someone asked, does this count for the tilt space?
I mean, you better fucking believe that we're putting 50K on this thumbnail.
Yes. It's a content play. Otherwise, no, it doesn't go on our ledger.
Leone's got a bunch of new like pictures. Like the thumbnails are gonna be hot.
Tell A Raven to suck it.
The second celebrations are reserved for Silva and Levitan only. Not to A Raven.
Those fucking guys.
But
man.
yeah, I mean that was like, with the exception of KCD there for a while, it was a nuts run out in the second half with Eckler scoring single digits or right or low, and Tyreek Hill. Would you say Tyreek Hill ended up at, Joe?
5?
I mean, that's like fifth percentile outcome for those two guys. For them combined, that's like a second percentile outcome.
Third highest team total on the slate.
Yeah.
Fun day. Fun day though. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yes.
Honestly, I still think that the Wiggins celebration of like, I can't remember, it was 30, 40K. He just like, all right, have a good one, boys. I gotta get out of here.
Wiggins is like, yeah, he's so chill. He just wants to listen to his fish, and he's happy to move on.
Happy to move on, I think, is a nice segue for us to power down this stream. I assume Leone has a frozen Snicker bar with his name all over it right now to celebrate.
Yeah, I got some ice cream. The ice cream serves dual purposes. Like, you can take solace a tough day.
Yes.
Or you can celebrate with it. The middle of the pack days, the ice cream stays in the freezer, but anything on the ends, we go to ice cream.
That's the dangerous thing with alcohol too, right? Is because it's like, oh, I had a shitty day, I'm going to drink. And you're like, I want to celebrate, I'm going to drink. And then it's like, I guess I'm only not drinking if things are just perfectly mediocre.
Things are mellow.
All right, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I believe it's Leone and Levitan holding things down with the tournament recap. In the morning, you can find Joe Holka over on his channel, youtube.com/Joe Holka. If you guys want to see me rub my face in my shitty lineups, I will be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. recapping mine on my channel, youtube.com/Peter Overzet. Congratulations to Mike Leone. We will be back next Sunday with a true tilt space sweat. I can feel it. We'll see you guys next week.